very pale. Like you could see all the veins in her face, and her eyes are super wide and they're just white. And she's staring at me.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, got chills talking about it.
There's a force in all of us that science knows nothing about. It's fear.
Welcome, everyone, to Induced Fear. I am your host, Oscar, and with me I have Ryan, Bankz Ryan, who runs the channel Bankz Project. What's up, man?
Not too much, man. Just chilling, living life, hunting ghosts, getting spooky, all that good stuff.
Yeah. And I'd messaged you because I like way before I had saw your what it was a Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, it was actually.
Post.
And that's kind of insane. It
And
took off how much it took off. I had 18,000 views and 6,000 like clicks and then 200 plus messages, and I was like, oh, I was not expecting this. So that's been pretty interesting.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that's dope. And I was like, oh, this is Colorado. I was like, oh, for sure. Gonna see if I can get in contact with this dude. And so I messaged you not from my personal Facebook, but from the podcast one, because I wanted you to know that I wasn't like just some
dude or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you did that because there are some people that were just hit me up and they'd have no profile picture, and I'm like, oh no, man, you're probably cool, but it seems sketch.
Yeah, especially from Facebook Marketplace. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, cool, local, definitely. And plus, I want to get more into the realm of interviewing more real people. People who are.
Oh yeah.
Not. There's no greater agenda like selling a book or anything like that. It's just you doing it because this is what you love to do. This is something that you like to do, like on the real.
Of course.
So, what was the thing that got you into it? Because I know we were talking before I hit record, but what was it that pulled you into the world of the paranormal?
So I think just when I was a kid, I was like kind of what you said. Like I was always infatuated with whether it was my grandpa, dad, or just any family member talking about old ghost stories or experiences they had, and I was like, whoa, that's cool. And then being a kid, I loved Ghost Adventures. I remember the first time I seen it. I was so young at the time. I was like maybe 8 or 9, or no, it was like 7 or 8 actually. And I remember anytime they'd play the little scary like clips they would do before hunting, I'd run out the room and then I'd run back in because I wanted to tune in and was just so infatuated by anything paranormal. And I think kind of just growing up a little bit, I'd started watching Sam and Colby do it a little bit, and I hated on them before I knew them for some reason because that's just what you do sometimes, like whatever. And then I started watching them and I was like, okay, I like what they're doing. And I kind of branched out and started watching some other paranormal investigators on YouTube, and I was like, man, I think I could do this just as good in my own creative way, if not better. So why don't I just start it up and see where it goes and just work hard at it.
Yeah, no, that's always the way to do it. That's what when it came down to me doing when I did the show, it was more so I was listening to a bunch of podcasts. I was also going to do my own like top 10 spookiest videos type reaction channel.
Nice.
And eventually I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to bite the bullet, man. I'm going to do it myself. Do it the way I want to do it.
And I think that's honestly one of the best things to do. Like, there's so many times like I've heard people older than me like, kind of say like, oh, when I was younger, I could have done this and that. And then I had kids and I have a kid. So I kind of was just like, have that different mindset where it's like, you know what? I don't want to be like older and be like, man, I had all these dreams to do this, that, and the third. And, I just stopped doing them. So I guess right now I'm just pursuing it because it's fun. but also because the 9 to 5 sucks. It does suck sometimes. And you know, if I keep working hard enough, I know I'm in control of what I do. So if I keep just putting out good energy, positive vibrations, and making dope stuff people like, I think, you know, maybe I could have a living with it one day. So that's another
Yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
aspect of it that
That's what I noticed too. I watched a couple of your clips that you had on your Instagram, and I was like, oh, this is just like more real. It wasn't you trying to like embellish like a story. The one where you guys are just chilling in your backyard with the spirit
yeah,
box.
yeah.
It's
And
just
that was
nice, simple, and honest reactions. Like nothing to embellish it, nothing to like sell it
exactly.
as something scarier. It was just real,
and
genuine.
that's and that's honestly how I want to go about it, because I love Ghost Adventures and all these shows, but there's so much like different aspects to it where I'm like, man, is this real? Like I want to
Yeah,
experience it myself. And I'm like, you know what, on this channel, like I'm gonna fully 100% go by, you know, keeping everything real and authentic. I get like dramatizing, like let's say camera's not on, you have a reaction, and then, you know, cameras on, your reaction is just 2 decimals higher or whatever.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Or, you
yeah,
know, things like that. But as, you know, I'm doing this, I really just want to keep everything authentic and real, because that's what I'd like to see in other investigators. And I do have a couple investigators I watch that, you know, they seem like they have real reactions. So I'm kind of trying to go that route rather than, you know, even if stuff is really going on, making it more dramatic than it is and like making up stuff, you know?
yeah. No, I get you. I get you. That's one of those good things where I think that's what will draw people in
Oh,
is
I
being
think
real,
so.
especially
I think so too.
especially now when people can fake anything and everything.
Yep,
It's so easy to do it now. So to be real and genuine is like now you're the standout just for being real.
exactly. And that's one thing I'm like, you know, I know I'm gonna stick to is just being real and authentic, you know, because as much as it would be nice to get views and all this, I don't really care about that. I just want to get cool evidence and make a funny but scary, you know, video where, you know, I'm scaring the shit out of myself and pushing my boundaries,
Yeah.
you know, of like what I'm capable of. So,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah.
I was like, so it starts off with you watching, the TV shows, YouTubers doing their own thing. Were there any of your own experiences that also solidified that fact of like I need some kind of answers?
Yeah, so I feel like I've always been in tune to the other side. Not like, oh, I can see ghosts or this or that, but I don't know, that it feels like, you know, something's always been drawing my attention to it, to the unknown, but, you know, wanting more answers. And I'm not very, very religious or anything. I'd say like if my religion was close to any religion, it would be more or less Christian, but I'm not very religious. I'm the type I want to see things, to, you know, experience things. And I think just ghost hunting is kind of a way of that. But yeah, but a couple experiences I had, I'm trying to think, like before even ghost hunting, because I've had some weird stuff happen. Like one of the times I spent the night at my friend's house, and I think I was about 8 or 9, and he used to have this doll, and I hated dolls, so a big portion of it is like I don't know like how real this was because I was freaked out of dolls, but he had this old doll, and his mom had it in his glass cabinet, and I remember at the sleepover, um, I woke up, was chilling. Probably I was about up for 30 minutes and everyone was asleep. And the glass cabinet just started going open and close, and like at least 2 or 3 times, and that tweaked me out. And I was like, but at the same time I was interested and wanted to investigate it. So, you know, just little things like that, and just getting weird feelings and vibes, and just, you know, me and my fiance one time, when we were first dating and I first moved in with her, we were urban exploring at this school in New Hampshire. It's called Laconia State School, and it was basically what they called a school for the feeble-minded, and then it became a jail. So when we went into the abandoned location, it was super cool, and we had done like a lot of the history research, and we were just trying to see what buildings we can get into and explore. And apparently, this place before, like it was even the state school, had a farmhouse, big old farmhouse, many different people living with it, and a fire broke out there, and over 44 people had died. And
Wow.
there was people who died at the state school, and when it first started, there was a lot of overcrowding going on. So people said that the conditions of the place was actually that close to um, the conditions during the Holocaust. So that place
Damn.
just had so much energy. And I remember we were just walking to some of these doors, and there were some buildings that were you couldn't get into. They were just way boarded up, and there was no entrance in them. And I heard keys jingling. Like there was no window either to get in through this one exact building where I heard this, but I heard keys jingling inside and like whispering like right outside the door, and then it would stop. And there was no more farm animals there, but we were hearing pigs and cows and just a bunch of different animals that weren't around us. And I remember just getting this super, super strange feeling while we were there. So we went back multiple times, and each time had a unique experience. So, so yeah, before ghost hunting, that was really some of my experiences.
That's interesting. The fact that you heard the animals too, because not a lot of people
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah. And I honestly do have more like experiences before ghost hunting, but a lot of them I am an investigator, but at the same time I try to debunk and discredit certain things that I'm like not 100% sure was like out of the norm, just because I
Yeah,
don't want to you know be making anything up, or like because I've had some experiences where I'm like, did I really experience that, or am I just, is it just my head playing games with me?
yeah. No, I get that. I get that. That's how I am with any of the things that happen. Like I've had hauntings happen where we live, and mainly my fiance will be the one who is the one who's scared of them and experiences them, and I'm the one who's like, well, we live in a condo. There are people that live next door. You could be hearing them. Like I'm just trying to explain it away and come up with some kind of explanation for certain things.
Yeah.
So I get
Well,
where you're coming from with that.
if you see some of my earlier like TikToks or whatever, if you have me on TikTok, or even just my first video, um I had let me give you some backstory before I get into this. But I lived at these apartments up in Monument, overpriced. It was expensive, but it was just me, my dad, my fiance, and and a couple other people that were living with us. And brand new apartments, nothing that should be haunted about them. But I have a couple theories about the place. So I know there was a lot of different paramedics or medical people that were at these apartments, and just people in general. And my kind of theory is, everyone might have one little attachment. Not necessarily that it's bad, but this person might have grandma. This person might have work at a hospital and have good old Joe who's just lost and just decided to come along with you. And that's where I first got my SB7 spirit box and EMF detector, and I would investigate it. And I was surprisingly getting like crazy stuff over the EMF or the spirit box that because I didn't know a spirit box was fully real, and I wanted to try it out. So I
Yeah.
started off like the first spirit box session. The second I opened it, I started off my spirit box session, and I was like, "Is there any spirits here that are with me?" And then about like nothing for a minute besides like random commercials popping in, and
Yeah.
I was like, I can hear you using this device in my hand. Can you say hi? And then instantly it was like, hello. And I'm like, okay, that's weird because this is a 15-year-old device, not engineered to be able to hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I start asking more questions, just trying to investigate, like, how many spirits are here? And it's like three. and I was like, are any of the spirits here maybe some spirits that have been in my life for a while, or are you just roaming? And it said been with you or something. And then it was just mumbo jumbo for another minute or so. And I was like, if you're a spirit that's been with me, can you tell me my childhood dog's name? And instantly said my childhood dog's name, Sable. And I'm like, okay, so at that time that proved to me, okay, so this is a way to communicate, and it's not just phony
And whatever
baloney.
it
At least
is
the device
intelligent.
I'm using.
Yeah.
Yeah. And whatever it is intelligent. So that was super strange. And I just kept having the craziest activity. And this Ouija board right here, I'm not a big Ouija board person, but I tried using it a couple years ago. I lived in the room where my mom had passed away. And I started, and it's before Halloween. So we're trying to, me, my fiance, her friend, trying to use the spirit, like the Ouija board, see what's going on. Yeah. And I just started saying like weird things. So I took my hand off it, and it was answering questions about my mom that no one else there knew. And I think, me being intrigued and trying to do it by myself after that opened something up, because at the apartments, I had seen something in the closet, a shadow, and I tried to disprove it. And then my fiance seen it, and I still try to disprove it. Like, okay, is there something in the way? And just weird stuff started happening. And little behold, this spirit box was in that closet. So my first video is just me investigating that. And that was pretty crazy.
See, those are the... Yeah, those things where it's like the curiosity really gets you. Or in the simple fact of, you said it was like in a room where your mom had passed. Because I know I was young when my dad passed, and that's what made me put like this call out into the ether of like, if anything, I don't care what it is, whatever can help me, like either just talk to my dad one more time or see my dad, like let that happen. And when that happened, that's when weird things started to happen. It's because you opened that that door.
You're letting yourself, it's almost like you're letting yourself be vulnerable, because the shadow thing that I had seen, when we moved here, I kind of been stopping investigating in my house, because the more I do, the more weird stuff happens. So that whole shadow thing, I didn't light any sage or anything, but I had wiped some sage on all four corners and was like, hey, if you try to come back in my life, I'm going to get rid of you, basically. And ever since, I don't really talk about it, and I haven't seen it that much, but sometimes here and there, I'll be like, I'm bored in my house, I want to just make a video. I'm going to investigate, whether it's my backyard or just using the spirit box in random places.
No, that's what I did, man. That's what I did. I have, I don't know, like 3 or 4 Ouija boards that I have. I have haunted objects that people had sent in, things like that. Nice. So it's like, and then it started to get weird. And my fiance is like, she's very sensitive to these things. So she was very much so not loving it. And any kind of thing that went on, she was like, no. And then after a while, I was like, all right, I'll put a kibosh on it. Won't talk about it anymore.
That's one thing that's stopping me from, like, because there's videos I want to do where I'm like opening a Dybbuk box or whatever in my house. But then I'm like, okay, my daughter sleeps the next room over from me. I don't want anything coming in trying to terrorize her that I can't see and fully get rid of,
Yep.
So I think that's kind of stopped me from investigating as much in my house, is just revamping that vulnerability in my own home. And plus, when I'm getting a midnight snack and all the lights are off, if I'm with a group of people in the dark, I'll do whatever. You'll see me running down to a dark basement. But then, like, I'm by myself and I'm in the dark, I'm like looking over my shoulder every creak.
It turns into a horror movie when you're just trying to get a snack in the middle of the night.
Did you see that?
What? On my end?
I don't know if your recording caught that. I don't know how long we are into it, but I just seen like a little orb fly like right here, but I don't think that was a reflection. That sounds crazy, but that was super strange.
No, I mean that's happened before. I've had plenty of people when they're talking about things, then you'll see the things happen.
Yeah, well, so when you look back in the video, let me know later on when you recheck the footage. But I had seen like something go, "Choo," and yeah, that's weird. Cool.
Yeah,
Just
I
go
didn't know
saying
if
hi.
you. Yeah, yeah. I didn't know if you'd seen the cat walking by because I don't know if you saw the lights turning off back here. So I didn't know
Oh,
if
were
it was
they?
that at first. Yeah.
No, it was on my little screens.
Oh,
Crazy.
okay. Yeah, I didn't catch that one. Yeah, I'll definitely go back and if
Yeah,
I
let me
catch it,
know.
then
I might be
you're getting
crazy.
that clip. Yeah.
Sick. It's a good clip.
So, yeah. Uh, so when it comes down to, I know you said you're not gonna. It makes you kind of weary to do like the content where you're living now, but
Yeah.
I know you said you had in our messages you had some things lined up. So you're gonna start going to more places and doing more
Yeah, so
on location type investigations.
yeah, so sorry if I'm talking too much or I go on and
No, no,
on.
no. That's
I got
perfect for
ADHD,
podcasting, man.
so perfect. Cool. I got
Yeah.
ADHD, so my mind might take you one place and then the next place and then re-go back to where I was before. It's crazy.
No, you're
So right
good.
now I honestly got a bunch of projects I'm working on. So my main focus right now is me and my fiance. We went to film at the Sally House for my first location investigation. That's not like my backyard or whatever, and that went really good. There was a couple times where things were just super dead, um, but then the things that weren't dead it was intense. Some of it was pretty intense, and I think we got some really good evidence. I'll show you some clips later on our own time, but I got my fiance's hair. Literally, we did a challenge. So we played Finding Anchovy, and if you don't know who Anchovy is, have you found out about Anchovy yet?
No, no.
Okay, hold on, you're about to. This little
Yeah.
guy right here is Anchovy. He was free on the side of the road. Now he comes on all my investigations, and I hide him in the back, and the viewers got to find him. But we were
Oh,
playing a game to determine a loser. So we played Finding Anchovy. So I hid this little guy, somewhere in the house, and she had a certain time to find it, and then vice versa. I looked for him too, and she lost the challenge. So we were, I was supposed to have multiple people coming with us, but everyone kept canceling, and then the one guy that didn't cancel, um, was coming with us, and then 45 minutes out, he gets sick. So it ended up being me and her. So we were
wow.
a lot more scared, it being our first investigation. So we were gonna do a basement challenge, but it kind of switched down to like her doing a spirit box in one of the most haunted rooms in the Sally house
Yeah.
while I was in the hallway recording. And she had actually mentioned, like, I can't do this. Like, she took her headphones off and she's like, I can't do this. I feel like there's something right behind me. And she touches her shoulder and she stops, and her hair, the back of the hair, lifts up like this. And I got it on video, and it's pretty,
Wow.
like, I'm far enough where I wouldn't have some weird rope mechanism to, like, and you'll
Yeah.
see when I show you the clip, but her hair flipped up like this. So that's some pretty crazy evidence I got there. But project wise, my goal this year is to go to 8 different haunted locations and do overnights there. Um, my minimum I want to do is 5, but my goal is 8. So I had the Sally House, and then in a month I'm flying back out to my hometown in Vermont, and me and my buddies are going to drive 7 hours out to the Hinsdale House in upstate New York, and that's another location that's pretty intense too, and has a lot of demonic activity and very crazy history and lore to it. So I think, while I'm doing my big investigations, in between that, I'm trying to work on little investigations. So I had made a post um, looking for ghost hunters because all my friends are kind of lame out here and they don't want to go ghost hunting with me. So I was like, you know what? Let me find out some people who want to go. So I got a bunch of people that are hitting me up, and I think one video I'm working on right now is checking out the haunted tunnels on Cheyenne Mountain. I'm not quite
All
finished with
right.
that. We shot a little bit up there, didn't get too much, but then things started getting weird. I saw some pretty weird stuff, so I wanted to further investigate it. So that's another video I'm working on. And then I just got another little dumb like 10-15 minute video like where it's called like using Timu budget or using Timu ghost haunted hunting items to ghost hunt with. So I'll have like
That's
this
good. I
wheel I
think that's good.
spin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of was thinking about it. I was like, okay, so maybe I should make a wheel what I'm willing to spend on it. So I'm like, ooh, 200 sounds like a lot, but I'll do 200 max, and then I'll have a bunch of different numbers on it. Spin it, whatever it lands on. I gotta use. I gotta buy ghost equipment with it and use it somewhere. So those are just like little videos I'm trying to kind of get done to just have in between my bigger investigations, because my bigger investigations a lot of times like the Sally house, I got 5 hours of footage and I'm almost done editing, but I still got a bit to go. So I'm trying to
Editing's the worst
record
part for me.
it really is, because I'm trying to record right now like new videos, and then I'm still trying to finish editing the Sally house video, but then I'm trying to come up with like my plans for the Hinsdale house video. Because what I do is like I kind of come up with like a starting plan, like how I'm going to start the investigation, like or what the pace I'm looking for is. And this next investigation's going to be I'm going to try to make it a little more cinematic, but but at the same time, you know, I was supposed to have all my homies come with me to the last one, but they didn't. So I'm also going to kind of give it the vibe of like a homies trip, but also when we need to like lock in and ghost hunt, we will. So,
Okay, I get you. Yeah.
but yeah, a lot
Almost,
of different
almost like
projects.
how, just like a road trip video
Exactly.
to ghost hunt, like type deal. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I do. What kind of like my style is like, all right, so maybe I'll record 20 minutes of the road trip, use a funny 3 minute, 2 minute, 1 minute clip out of the road trip. And, before that, do my intro. Like today, we are at the infamous Hinsdale house, got the cinematic words kind of going behind me, like edit it so it's going behind me. And then, yeah, sometimes I'll like just get into the lore where it's just like some creepy pictures that pop up while I'm explaining the lore of the location. Or
Yeah.
sometimes, I'm like, okay, I want to explain the lore at the location rather than, so I'm just trying new stuff out with that. But yeah, a lot of my bigger investigations, I just try to plan like the first up until the ghost hunt. Like, all right, are we going to play
Yeah.
a game for like a challenge for a loser of the video to do a challenge, or are we going to do this or more cinematic? So I come up with that and then just go from there after that, freestyle it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think it's good because there's when it comes to ghost hunting, there's like a lot of dead space in
There
it.
is.
So whatever you can do to kind of fill that, like have fun with it, not just sit there in the dark for hours, kind of what we do
Oh yeah,
here.
and just and honestly, I had a little bit of that. Like when I got to the Sally house, I'd been preparing to go to the Sally house for a year, and I had the month before, I had the plan tripped out and everything manifested in my head of what I was going to do. And when everyone just started canceling on me, it really messed up my whole game plan because I didn't
Yeah.
expect it to be me and my fiance. So when we got there, we had to go out for a second, take a break to get some dinner. But when we got in there, like my adrenaline was so high because it felt so intense in there. But at the same time, it was like I'd been dreaming, waiting about this moment for my first ghost hunt and was so excited. And I think there was some things that I had planned out that I just didn't get to because, it being like my first bigger video.
Yeah.
So, but, but yeah, anyways, so we got there and, I'm like, this is crazy. You start getting a bunch of activity and then it stops for 2 hours. And I had traveled a long way to get there. It was about like 8 hours. And
Yeah.
we stayed at a hotel the first night, but I only got like 3 or 4 hours of sleep. So I was tired. And, the 2 hours of the investigation where I was just like, nothing was going on. I kind of crashed and like lost all motivation. Like all my energy just felt gone. And then, the house started slowly revamping back up and getting crazier. And
Yeah.
we kind of just made fun out of it. Like me and my fiance sat down. She's like, you're not the type to usually just quit or just, get like this. So let's do something. So we started freestyling to Sally, freestyle rapping to
Yeah.
Sally. And now I'm just like, okay, anytime, it gets quiet or whatever, I still try to find some ways to make good content or just have fun with it.
I think that's good. I think because that's a thing that people really don't talk about too much is the lulls when it comes down to doing
Yep.
investigation. So if you can fill that with anything again that makes your content unique, I think that's just another win in your book when it comes to that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And my content's definitely creative. It's it's got my own kind of fucked up humor, but also
Yeah.
Like my seriousness when it's time to getting down to like investigating and stuff. And I think I'm just right now finding the perfect way to blend that. But editing is like, it sucks, but at the same time, I kind of love it. And I'm not good at computer stuff or whatever technical stuff. I suck at it. But editing, I've actually been getting a lot better at, and I I kind of now know going into the next investigation what I need to work on from my first
Yeah.
investigation. So I'm going into it with a lot less planning because I think I overplanned and then was getting a little discouraged that nothing was going to like how I planned it. So this next one, I'm kind of just more doing simple like organization and then like just gonna freestyle the rest of it and have fun with it
Yeah. That's gonna be cool, man. I think that'll be cool.
for sure.
Because this, I mean, going to those locations, especially because those places that have energy like that have history like that, you're going in with high energy, and all that's gonna do is fuel that even
Oh,
more.
whatever's there, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like all your that thing is without a battery, and you guys are walking in. You guys are the battery at that point. As soon as you go in, you're clicking right in there.
That's so funny you say that because that's kind of like a vibe I got when I went into the Sally house. I felt like
That's what I pictured when you were describing
yeah,
the fact that
like,
your energy drained and then it picked
yeah.
back up as soon as your energy drained.
Because usually when I'm tired, like I'll still be motivated and whatever, but it felt like whatever was there drained my whole energy. And it's actually funny because right after that, my fiance is like, okay, well, we were gonna play this game called Hide and Flash, where everyone hides and you use the flash to find everyone. But we shut all the lights off and we're like, yeah, fuck that. We're not doing that. It's creepy. It's way too creepy with just two of us. Like it'd be better if I had like some homies. But I was with my fiance, the person I'm most comfortable with. So we decided to just shut off every light off in the house and you stay close to each other, but use my camera light as light. And we get into one of the rooms and it's just me and her in the house. And down the stairs, like there's literally sounds like someone's down the stairs, like a person, like someone's in the house. And it went, ah, and oh, I got chills talking about it. But the hairs on my neck, like I actually screamed like a little girl. I've never really screamed like this. I was like, what the fuck? And I ran and I ran to go turn the light on, and that was insane. That was nuts. So yeah, I feel like after that my energy had just drained, and then I went to go take a 20-minute nap, and I'm hearing the REM pod just go beep 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 the whole entire time I'm trying to take a nap, and not like the temperature change, like something's touching it. And my fiance is the only one up, so she's getting all creeped out because I'm over here napping. I'm like, I don't care. I know there's a ghost in here already. I don't even. What is it gonna do to me? I'm so tired. So I hear her flipping out, calling her mom, and the more she's getting scared, the more the REM pod's going off. So I wake up and like you could put the REM pod anywhere, and it's just like it's almost like it's in the REM pod sucking the battery out of it. And after that, that's when the weird stuff started happening. Like the poltergeist activity started happening. Like we heard children footsteps upstairs, and we asked it to run more, and we hear doo, 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 doo. And then we did the challenge roughly after that, and that's when my fiance's hair was lifting up, and just going back and editing it. There's so much different like EVPs that we had missed, but it seems like once it took the energy from like at 1 a.m, took the energy from the REM pod, the energy from me, it just started boom, like coming to life, like almost like a charge, like a solar power charging something up.
Yeah. But you just
Insane.
jump started everything.
Yeah, no, it did. And I think
Yeah.
that's one really cool thing about these places is like you don't know what you're gonna get, but I feel like the silence and the the kind of boringness happens so something bigger can happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You
believe
know?
that. That's how it would go. That's how it would go for any of the investigations I did. It would
Yep.
be those dead quiet areas where you're like, should I just pack it up? Should I just
Yep.
pack it up and go? Like,
But then
and then
everything
boom,
in you
it
is
starts
telling
happening.
you gotta, yeah.
Yeah.
Where have you investigated?
I've done. There was an Visions, Comics, and Oddities. They're right in Denver.
Okay.
They moved locations, but their old building. I went there because I would get my comics there, things
Yep.
like that. And I told the guy, I was like, I love the shop because I also collect oddities and stuff and comics. So it's like my whole vibe. I was like, you mind if I gave you guys a shout out on the podcast? And he was like, what's the podcast about? And I was like, ghosts and cryptids, things like that. And he was like, this place is haunted. He's like, you can investigate here. So then we investigated the basement of that place, which crazy things happened, mainly involving my fiance. I used to live right next door to Cheeseman Park in Denver.
Oh yeah, I know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know how active it is, but it's a pretty crazy story. I'd assume it is active.
Well, because there's still 2,000 bodies buried underneath that park. There's still 2,000 bodies underneath there. So there's stories of like, what was his name? Slackjaw. There's a ghost called. Yeah, it was a lot. But there's a ghost called Slackjaw, and it's basically a ghost that has his jaw kind of like it was a ghost of somebody who was beaten by people, and all he does is roam around asking, where did they go? Where did they go? The people who did this to me, where did they go? Mm-hmm. So you can just roam around there, and I always want to interview the people that live around that park.
Oh,
but, those people are rich. So if I came in, I was like, you got any ghosts?
And they'll be like, get out of here, and then pull off in your auntie or something.
Yeah.
And talk to me.
But yeah, there's a couple out here.
Yeah, Cheeseman Park is one I really want to investigate. I'm more or less just scared of like a tweaker coming out and just
that's what I mean. Anybody boofed out, anybody tweaked out is just is the problem there.
Yeah, that's like the only reason I wouldn't want to do Cheeseman Park. But at the same time, I'm like, it's got such a crazy story. I mean, maybe I can investigate or ask the tweakers, like interview them, like, hey guys, or the homeless. I shouldn't say
tweakers,
$5. But the homeless. Like,
yeah.
Hey man, I'll give you $5 for an interview. Have you seen anything weird here? And like, because they could honestly be cool to interview and talk to. They probably have seen some weird stuff up there. I'm sure of it.
100%. That's probably why some of them are a little crazy over there.
Yeah, they're like, what's up with Billy over there talking to himself? Yeah. He's schizophrenic. No, Billy's not schizophrenic. He's seeing the other side.
Ghosts. Yeah.
There's ghosts in these neck of the woods. Not really.
Because the whole story with Cheeseman Park is crazy just because they hired some dude to move the bodies, which I ended up moving next to the other cemetery that some of the bodies were moved to. And I was like next door. Yeah, I lived right next door to that cemetery for
even
a
the houses
couple of
by
years.
It gotta be just insane.
Oh yeah, I could just walk. I just step out, walk the dog, and the cemetery is right there. We could walk straight to it and then just roam around it.
Super cool.
But the story was like the guy was moving the bodies and he realized, oh, I can get paid more. I can get paid more per casket. So he started cutting the bodies up and increasing the number of caskets. And then the city caught on to it and they were like, no, you're done. You're done with, get out of here. And then whatever was left behind, the bodies that were left behind, they just paved over and built the park still over the top. So
yeah, that's That's insane. And you know, like obviously I think like when someone's dead, their resting spot isn't always the place they died in, but the residual
Yep.
energy, and I think sometimes residual energy is their spirit letting you experience their residual energy, if that makes any sense. And I have that just
Yeah.
from some weird, really weird experience. Um but anyways, um so it's like that, plus if there is energies that just like that territory, that area, and fully hadn't passed on, and it was like, you know what, I think I'm just gonna roam around here, they gotta be pissed off, like, hey, like, you know, like,
Yeah.
why are you moving us, and then you're taking our caskets, and then like, what? You know, so I would be angry, you know. So I definitely see like that spot or location have an insane energy, and even
Well,
the
especially.
houses around it, because you got to think spirits just be like, you know what,
Yep.
I'm sick of this, I'm just gonna go go over here, or go to this weird little portal and then somehow end up in this neighborhood. I don't know what they do. But you know,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
do
No.
think
That, I
like,
mean, definitely the houses around there. Because it's like if I'm gonna chill as a ghost anywhere, there's a ton of mansions right next to this park.
oh yeah, of
You
course.
know, so
Is
I'll go
there
chill in a
any
mansion.
like experiences you had that just kind of left you shook, or like, oh, like where you actually felt endangered or whatever, like, not.
Well, I mean, we talked about sleep paralysis before we hit record here, but those are the only times where I felt increasingly scared about something. Um, Especially because during those times it was very much so. I'm a kid, 7, 8, right after my dad passed, so I'm more so in that state of like what's going on in the
Oh
world. Uh,
yeah, but at the same time you're young enough
and
to be vulnerable to what's going on
yeah,
spiritually.
especially because I was like, whatever is out there, just putting a call out to whatever, and that's when things would happen, and it's just a shadow figure, and it would be can't move, can't breathe. I don't know what's going on. I can only see the faint shape of what's a person, and it's like this darker than the darkness of the room. Um, and then another time when, and I've said it plenty of times on the show, but uh, at one time the sleep paralysis kind of changed, and instead of it being a shadow figure, it took the form of my fiance, and like it walked out of the room, and I thought it was her. So I got up and I was just laying on the couch. I got up and I was like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" She turns right back around, goes into the room, closes the door in my face. I open it right after, and she's asleep in bed. And I'm like, "All right, weird. Um, I'm gonna go lay back down on the couch and watch TV." And I lay back down on the couch, start looking at my phone, and then I hear footsteps. Doom, 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 doom. As soon as I put my phone to the side to look up to see what it is, boom, I'm in sleep paralysis and I can't move. And those were the only times where I was like freaked out. Like, what the hell happened?
Wow. Like, how did I get in a sleep paralysis if I'm obviously awake checking that?
Yeah.
I've never heard sleep paralysis like that, but I do think there's something with the astral field when you're sleeping. There's certain dreams that don't mean anything, but then
Yep.
I've had dreams, like, what, I'm very intuitive and have good intuition, but I have dreams that have no pattern recognition that have come true in every aspect of the dream. Um, so I think there's some weird like thing with dreaming and being in that dreamlike state, or being able to go in that dreamlike state, that opens that portal to being, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So I think a lot of times sleep paralysis might, and this is my theory about it, is like it's actually, I don't think it's always just sleep. I think there's entities along with it, because I had some pretty messed up story when my daughter was in the hospital being born with my sleep paralysis. But I can't believe, man, just like being awake 1 second, seeing your wife go into the room, and then like being just stuck.
But that's the way it always was for me, though. I was always awake and I knew when it would happen because I would feel the room get heavy. I would
You just
hear
have that
this, like,
feeling.
I would hear like a strange, like, static. I always called it like just the sound of silence. It's like I can hear that it was dead quiet. And then I would be like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen right now.
And then
It only
it
would
happens.
happen, and it would only happen if I made eye contact with whatever this like entity was, and if I didn't make eye contact, then I was cool. No,
See, that's it's sleep paralysis is the worst, and I get a little shooken up talking about mine. Would you like to hear it maybe, or
yeah,
hear my? This is more my. I've had it sleep paralysis many different times, but this time is the time that really shook me. And I'm very creative. Like as a kid, I was the youngest sibling, so I just have a good imagination. But I can still picture what I'd seen exactly in my sleep paralysis. So that's why when I think about it, I'm like, ooh, I just get the chills.
yeah,
But so I'm in the hospital, my newborn, she's born. We weren't expecting to have a C-section, but things were just getting complicated, so we had to have a C-section. And I'd say about the first night, like I had gotten no sleep, and my fiance. My fiance went over 24 hours without sleeping, and that's after getting her stomach cut open and just going through. It was
yeah,
kind of traumatic, and
yeah,
we both took a little nap, and we were up, and we went from not being parents to just being parents out of nowhere, and instantly we're left with no sleep. So I'm waiting for the baby to fall asleep at night, and it's just getting tough. And I let my fiance sleep while I just have the baby, and eventually get her to sleep. And I go to sleep. I have this weird dream. My fiance is sitting in the bed, in the operating bed that she was in, because I had like a little side couch and she had the bed, and baby had a bassinet. And I'm sitting there, and I look over, and she's like up, like just looking at her phone, like being super secretive about being on her phone, but she's like texting her sister. I'm like, oh hey, what's going on with your sister? And she looks over at me, and I'm like hey, like what's going on? She's just ignoring me. And then I'm like, just
yeah,
go to like kind of itch my forehead, and I look over and she's asleep, and I'm like, okay, whatever, that don't mean anything. And then I'm gonna draw
yeah,
this because I have a drawing somewhere in here of what I seen. But so there's this little hallway going toward the bathroom. The bathroom's on the left, and then the door is just straight. And in the hallway, you just see
yeah,
the hallway, and then it's dark. But at towards the ceiling, I see a head pop out, kind of like like this, and it's a girl with strawberry blonde hair, very pale. Like you could see all the veins in her face, and her eyes are super wide, and they're just white, and she's staring at me.
yeah.
Oh, by the way, got chills talking about it. She's staring at me, and I'm staring at her, and I'm like trying to get up, and I can't get up, and I'm just stuck there. And it's just like staring at me with like this unexpressed like look on my face. And the more I'm like looking at the detail of her face, the more I'm just getting super uneasy and freaked out. And when I had finally woke up, I just remember just jolting up, and then I was like just like breathing super heavy, and it didn't feel like I closed my eyes. And then I woke up, it felt like my eyes were already open, and I had just barely been out of that jail like state where you can't move. And I'll
Yeah,
draw it down, just super quick draw it, but it was
yeah.
insane.
While you draw it, were you could you breathe in that moment? Like, could you speak? Like, did you try any of those things while you were
Yeah, I tried
in that
screaming, I
state?
tried speaking, I tried waking my fiance up, and I just was like I think my actual body was
Yeah,
probably like but I couldn't, as
yeah,
hard as I was trying. And the harder I try, the more suffocating it felt, and the more like into
yep,
my soul it was staring. And that for me was just like
yeah,
it was some horror movie type shit, because it wasn't just like, here, I might not draw it because I have a drawing somewhere, but kind of explaining it better, like showing you something, like pretend this is the ceiling, like this is the roof. It was about this high up, if this was the roof of the room, staring like this, kind of had a long neck, just regular face, pale, like eyes like this, but all white. And her hair is there's no motion in her hair. It's just going
Yeah.
straight. It's not falling down. It's just going straight. And she's just it's kind of reminded me of The Exorcist, like the girl from The Exorcist, but
Okay.
different, more creepy and real. But but yeah, that was like my
Well,
tough
yeah, because it's
experience with
happening
it.
to you. It wasn't a movie. It
Yeah,
wasn't a
yeah, that was
movie in that point in that moment for you. Yeah.
yeah. So sleep paralysis is it's
Yeah.
screwed up. I don't like it.
I was saying because most people see like just a shadow figure, but yours had
Mhm.
all this detail, which is why it's like locked into your mind
Oh
and why it
yeah,
affected you in such a way. Because
yeah,
the only other time that I've gotten a story where somebody saw like an actual figure that wasn't a shadow. It was somebody in the UK. They had sent in a story of it was a person that was just like almost like a mermaid, and they were just wet and drenched, and it was just a woman with her hair just down and just soaking wet,
like
and
The
it was just
Grudge.
yeah, kind of like The Grudge.
Yeah,
But the way that they described it was like a mermaid. I don't know if they saw a tail or anything. Um, but that was the only other time that I've heard anything with
yeah,
detail that
because
it was a woman and they can describe what the woman looked like. And so like yours is another one of those where it's very detailed. You can
yeah.
all the way down to the eyes and the way that her face looked and her
Oh yeah,
hair looked.
and even with my eyes open without having to close them, I could picture it already, and that's like,
Yeah.
ugh. And
Burned
usually
into your
people are
brain.
like, "Oh, I seen a shadow," or "I seen the Hat Man," with
Yeah.
the red eyes and the hat. And my fiance actually had some weird dreams, not sleep paralysis, but Hat Man dreams. And I'm like, yeah, I really kind of wish I would have got the shadow dude rather than this freaking this
No, yeah.
chick. Like it's not natural for your head to be looking up from, and the ceiling was like a 11, 12 foot ceiling. Seeing a
No,
head up
that
that high
alone
is
is
not
scary.
natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that alone is scary.
And I don't know if it's because I'm in a hospital where many people have died. The oldest I'm in Memorial Hospital in Colorado Springs, like kind of the one by downtown, and
Okay.
it's many people have died there. You know, I don't know if it was some darker entity or just some thing or my attachment. I don't know, but it was not cool.
Yeah.
It
Well,
sucked.
they say that because I did once I had sleep paralysis for years. I did a lot of research into it, and a lot of it was anytime people had it, it was because of a high stressful time in their life, something that was a
Yeah.
giant change. Like you said, at the in one moment, you guys are now parents. Your wife just went through, your fiance went through this traumatic experience while giving birth.
Yep.
So all of that culminates into like an insane amount of like energy being
And
put
even
out.
just stress and just
Yep.
all that. And it's like that's where I'm like, okay, well, is it explainable? But it felt so real, like
Yeah.
realer than real, to the point where I'm like, you know, I'm the type, like, I like to have my little theories about things because it wouldn't be fun without the
Yeah.
theories. I don't just see
Yeah.
everything just black and white, you know, like scientific. Like I kind of like think of reasons to things, and I'm like, okay, well, I wonder if there's like, you know, like some other state of mind you go into where something's trying to show you something from the other dimension or the other side or whatever. And
Oh yeah.
that's what it felt like in that moment for me. So that's why I kind of like see it more or less as something sort of paranormal than like just a dream.
Yeah, but you also have it locked into your memory.
Oh
The
yeah, for
details of
sure.
it are locked, which always proves the point of it actually happening to somebody, because it's the same when it comes down to like a traumatic experience for somebody. They'll remember every little detail of
And
that
the only
moment.
dreams I really remember, like I've had some wacky dreams that don't make sense that I remember, but the only dreams I remember so vividly are the dreams I've had where something has happened in real life that was the same as the dream, or like dreams that felt like
Yep.
they had meaning. Because I'll have dreams too, rather than just sleep paralysis. Like I had this one really weird one where I'm driving down kind of by the Broadmoors, almost like going up to the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo or to Cheyenne Mountain, and these owls just start falling out of the sky, just dying. And one owl just stops and looks at me for like help, and it's not speaking to me, but I can see what it's saying.
Yeah.
Or I feel like I know, like it wants help, but it also wants to more or less show me some like wisdom or whatever. And like I just been, applying different stuff from that dream to like my actual life that it could be. But I feel like when I have a dream where I know it's a sign or whatever, I remember that dream for forever.
Yeah. And this didn't feel like a dream to you. Sleep
Yeah.
paralysis didn't
No,
feel like a dream.
it didn't feel like a dream. Like the parts that felt like a dream is like where I looked over and my fiance just wasn't making sense. Like she was texting her sister, but she was being secretive about texting her sister. I'm like, she just had a baby. She's tired. What? Like she don't even do anything like that anyway.
What's
So I'm
going
like,
on?
what? So that didn't make any sense. And I'm like, that was very dreamlike. And I knew I was in a dream at that point. So I was like, all right, am I in a dream? So I go to just quickly check myself. And then I look over and that's when I see it. And the room was the same. There was nothing distorted or changed in the room either. The room was exactly how it was when I was conscious and awake. So,
yeah.
and usually in the dreams, you'd see something different, like, oh, there's like, it's like almost like some AI mess up is like what you'd see in a dream. But
for some reason, you got like 7 fingers or whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was just perfectly normal. Just chilling.
And that was the one, because you said you had sleep paralysis, like things happen, but this was the one that really
this was the one that really stuck to me. I've had sleep paralysis to where there was like, which I don't fully remember in much as detail, but I remember the feeling of just trying to get up and wake up and almost feel like I'm drowning when I'm trying to yell or scream or get up, and I just can't. But I don't think I've ever had any before that where I had like seen my exact room and then seen a shadow walk in. Because sometimes I would see my room, but I don't remember that, like what entities I was seeing or what exactly was happening in most of my other sleep paralysis. I just remember how it felt. But this one was the only one I could say I fully remember. So
that's just another one of those moments where you're like, all right, I'm on the right track. I'm going to keep doing this. Paranormal investigations, ghost hunting thing.
Yeah.
Because I need those answers.
It's cool because I when I'm investigating, I get left with, I'm looking for answers and I get left with more questions than answers from everything. And it seems like the more I kind of put together like my evidence, I like come up with these theories. So I'm like, my religion, or what I think kind of life and death is, and this is just my experience. I don't know if you're religious at all, and I don't want to persuade your ways of thinking, but this is just
I am, but I'm not gonna like, I'm not gonna.
So
that doesn't stop me from listening to people.
Yeah, I believe there's a heaven and I believe there's a hell. I don't think you necessarily go to hell for like the littlest reasons, like the rules that, everyone says like, oh, you do this, you go to hell. I think if you're truly an evil soul, there's like a dark place for you. But from what I've gotten from investigating, like why are there certain spirits that are so saying things so demonic or bad against God? Like if God isn't real, why would there be these entities just disrupting that? So I believe in God and Jesus and all that, but I believe there's a middle ground. There's a ground for the people that aren't fully ready to pass on, like they have unfinished business, or they just like where they're at. And I kind of think sometimes there's that middle ground, which seems to me like the spirit world, because mostly like I've gotten stuff talking about my mom or whatever, or like saying weird things about my mom in the spirit box, but I don't think I've ever fully got her. And I'm like, okay, I wonder if she's fully passed on. Whereas, there's spirits who haven't, but then I sometimes think like, all right, there's certain people maybe who have just different paths. Like Joe, he's down. He's just going to be reincarnated as some little boy with a birthmark. But I don't know. It's super weird. And what I'm getting from a lot of this, like ghost hunting stuff, is there's intelligent spirits that they don't seem dark. They don't feel dark. But then there's dark things, and usually the darker things you don't hear too much from them. You just feel it, and it gets
Yeah.
silent. And I've just noticed with residual energy, it just repeats. It's like an ongoing cycle. So I wonder if there's like, heaven, hell, and then that weird, strange middle ground to whatever's in the afterlife.
Yeah. I mean, before I started anything, well, before I went into this, I wasn't very religious. I was more so like, show me what you got. Give me
Yep.
anything. I don't care what it is, how scary it is. Throw it at me. Things like that. And it was only within this recent time that I actually started to become like more Christian within the things that I do. So I feel like everybody's on their path, like you said. Like everybody has their path that they go down. And I always tell people like even in the Bible there are stories where it's like I don't remember the exact verse, but I know they're calling forth the ghost of Samuel, and they call forth this ghost, the spirit of him, and that ghost is like, "What are you doing? Why are you calling me? Like, why are you calling me forward? Like,
Yeah.
like, what do you like? He like, but it brings in the fact that it's like the spirits are there. There are spirits that can hear you, and so it just throws in more of those like questions of like, which is why I say like when people open up that door, like when you're opening up that door, when you ask that question of like, are there any spirits in here? It's like make sure that your intentions and like just make sure you're a little bit more specific on what you like, because if you're
Yeah, what
putting
you
that
really
call out
want
there and
and
then
you're
something dark,
inviting
yeah,
in.
something dark walks through, yeah,
And sometimes, I don't mind facing the dark a little bit sometimes, but
yeah,
but uh but yeah, it's just it's so weird, and I honestly think like it's cool that like there are these devices that actually seem to work, and I have evidence of them working, and I have my own knowledge of them
yeah,
working, and it's like it's so crazy. Like as a kid, I would never be like, oh, there's a device where you could actually talk and something on the other side will answer. And I think doing ghost hunting is like it feels very surreal. Like how am I speaking to an unearthly entity, right now, or
yeah,
like communicating with something on this barrier that we have from like me seeing you to like like I don't know, it's really cool kind of getting into it. It feels very unreal, but once you get into it, weird stuff starts happening, and a lot of
oh
people
yeah,
can say, oh, it's fake, this, that, but I tell everyone, I'm like, all right, I know you're a skeptic, yeah, and I'd love to bring more skeptics along. That's actually some video ideas I have, but like to the people that are just hating in the comments, like buy a SB7, go to a graveyard, or just go different places and keep using it and see the evidence you get for yourself. You know what I mean? Before like
yeah,
judging and coming up with this thing like, oh yeah, no, you're just faking. So like I tell everyone that because that's exactly what I did, and I had already believed prior to that, and but my belief for it has just grown and grown and grown. Pattern
yeah.
recognition.
I was gonna ask that too. How's it changed from the beginning to like now?
Oh,
Like what
yeah.
your thought process on all of it? Like just
So
goes
now
through it.
I definitely think ghosts are real. I think I have my times where I have weird stuff happening, and I try to decipher it from what's something that could explain it towards if it's a ghost or not. But there's just some really weird stuff, like when me and my fiance were investigating, like I'm looking back while editing, and I'm hearing voices that aren't ours, like EVPs, like and it sucks because like they're so clear, but there's certain times where I'm not talking or I'm talking and she's not talking, where I'm like, someone's definitely gonna be like, oh, this is her in the background. But
Yeah,
just being able to like hear like EVPs, like so I'll send you some of these clips later, but I'm just hanging out, chilling, and we're investigating one of the rooms, and when we walk into it, there's this voice that's like, I'll kill you. And I didn't hear it in the moment, but I'm editing at 3 a.m. and I hear, I'll kill you. And it's a man's
yeah,
voice. And I know what my fiance's voice sounds like. I've been with her for 4 years. So
Yeah.
I know what her voice sounds like, but I woke her up in the middle of the night. I'm like, was this you? And she was like, no, why would I say that? Why would I just, and I know she's a very straightforward, honest person. So
From
to
the
answer
beginning
your
to now.
questions, I started off a believer, but more curious and skeptical. And now I think I'm definitely a believer. And I think there's different types of spirits. Like I said, residual and then intelligent. And I'm almost like 100% a believer just from the things I've gotten. And I had one thing that really made me believe 100%. It kind of sounds a little messed up, but I hope I could share it.
Yeah.
It does. So I used to work at King Supers up in Monument, and while I was on leave, my buddy called me and he's like, "Dude, I think someone's shooting up the store. We just heard 8 shots while I was doing carts." And this coworker we had tragically passed away, and I believe she was going through a divorce with her husband from what people had said, and he shot her a bunch of times. And for some reason something was drawing me to that spot one night, and I'm driving around, and me and my fiance just stop and we do a Estes session. We're just in the car, and I'm like, I'm recording it, but I'm like, I don't think I'm ever gonna put this out because it's so insensitive to the person and their family. But for myself, it's just that like this was someone I had known, and
Yeah.
I was more just like thinking from my relationship with them, like trying to speak to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Could I talk to them again? Type thing
yeah,
in your head.
and it didn't seem like anything there was intelligent stuff that was going on. Like I drove around the building, and she had the spirit box and then the headphones in, and she was just spurting out, and she's like, one said around the building, and I kind of hear the spirit box at how loud the headphones are. And then it says it wasn't even about marriage, and then it starts having like shell case sounds hitting the ground. um and then she was just explaining weird stuff towards like that incident that happened. And for me, it, like there was like certain things she was saying that just seemed so much like some residual energy. And like that
Yeah.
kind of to me was like, oh wow, so it was intense when, and I don't think I'd ever put out the video, but it was more or less, I was more or less just recording for my own, like, you know, thing or whatever. And I even let the spirit know
Yeah.
that, and was like, hey, by the way, I'm not going to put this video out, but thank you for letting us. And it's almost like she was trying to show it to my fiance by saying these things over the spirit box. And then
Yeah.
it started off with some intelligent energy or things after that, like, no problem. Hey, I know you. And like,
Yeah.
because I was her coworker, it's just super weird. So for me, that kind of put the thing to me like, okay, yeah, ghosts are real, residual and intelligent energy is real. And now I'm just investigating more of what it is and what it could be, you know, different
Yeah. Asking
different
more questions and
yeah.
getting whatever answers you can.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
No, that definitely would, I guess that it would definitely be something to solidify it for you, you know,
oh for sure.
especially with it being like something that's there in your life.
Yep.
I guess it would also fit the same bill as in, you know, after you said your mom had passed and you were in that room and you were doing things too, it was like those real connections into that, into that world for you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it is really weird. And when I tell everyone, I tell all my friends, I'm like, when I go one day, you better pull up to where I died with this spirit box. Don't
Yeah.
I'll tell my family not even to worry about it. You could post it, whatever. Go to my
Yeah.
thing with the spirit box, and if I'm there, I'll say what's up. You know what I mean? Or if I'm not
Yeah.
there, you probably will just get my like residual energy, just being like, freaking got beat to death by Hobo Joe because I paid him $5 to interview him about Cheeseman Park.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. You know, something like that.
Yeah.
But no, I honestly think it's pretty crazy what's out there in the world, and once you start to investigate these things, the weird stuff that happens, and it just again leaves me with more questions and answers.
Yeah, that's how it was for me. Anytime I asked for something to happen and then things would just happen, it just kind of leads you further down that rabbit hole, and you're gonna keep going down that rabbit hole as things go on. Especially if you make things fun as you go on,
Oh yeah,
with the content that you do.
and I try to do that as much as possible without disrespecting the location. And you
Yeah,
know, there are times though where I'm like, I'd like to think that these spirits have a sense of humor. You know what I mean? I've never just hear like let's say some, I was at the Sally house and I was freestyling, but I think what was there wasn't a little girl. I think, to me, little, when it gets weird when people are saying little kid spirits, for some reason I think kids are just so pure that I don't
yeah,
think they're in the spirit world, and if they are, they're in a good place in the spirit world. So it
yeah.
seemed like the Sally house was more or less something demonic trying to take that whatever. So I was there and I was
Or the
freestyling.
doctor. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And when I was freestyling there, I was just kind of, I said some things and I was like, okay, that probably sounds bad. So I had to kind of reiterate, like, hey guys, I'm not talking about the little girl. I'm talking about the
yeah,
demon that's here,
yeah,
but even if I am like joking around or having just some fun on the ghost hunt, I do. A part of me is like wants the spirit to know, hey, I'm not disrespecting you. By the way, this is just my humor. I'm just trying
yeah.
to make light and maybe make you smile somewhere in the ghost realm. But sometimes the ghosts love it. Like I've had things I was doing over the spirit box where the ghost is like, ha ha ha, like over the spirit box, and
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, okay, cool. That's interesting. So I think bringing fun to the ghost hunt in times of distress is just like, that human coping mechanism, that we all
Yep.
got, where it's like, I think laughter and humor is a big part has always been a big part for me. I was always the class clown in school. So even in the ghost hunts, like I like to keep like, certain parts serious, but a joke here and there to me, um, it just makes
I
it
don't.
more
Yeah,
fun.
I wouldn't think
I
that would
love
be
it.
disrespectful, especially if you
Oh
believe that
yeah.
these are like human spirits. They were human before. They had
Oh
jokes. They
yeah.
laughed. You know.
So,
So,
so
uh,
I just try to treat them too like they're another human being. Like I'm not gonna just puppy dog talk to you unless like
yeah,
I'm like feeling sympathy or whatever. But like just kind of talk to you like how I'm talking to you right now. I've been trying to get better at that. Just like almost talking, asking these questions like it's like I'm talking to something normal, just to really give that spirit like the vibe that I'm not just trying to dig information out of it.
yeah. No, I get that. I get that. When we did the one in the old jailhouse, I was very much so like, all right, if there's any spirits that want to talk to us, you can use this device, you can use that device, you know, whatever you want to do. We're just here. And then my fiance is like, no, this is a jail. You have to tell them that you're the big dog now. And I was like, I don't know if we're gonna do it that route. But she was very
Yeah,
much
sometimes
so
you gotta
like,
play good cop,
yeah,
bad cop. That's how my
yeah,
fiance was at the Sally house. She just started like, Sally, we came all this way and you're doing nothing. And I'm like, trying to get us killed. I'm
yeah,
like, but then like my dadness for some reason got a little defensive because I was like, hey, I was like, no, 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 she's good. And then I was realizing in my head, I'm
yeah,
like, wait, this thing's a manipulator because it's like saying the word Sally in a man's voice on the spirit box. I'm like, wait, no, like,
yeah,
egg it on. So, but I also don't have problems kind of like trying to get that, you know, that, that reaction too, where you're provoking, because sometimes you
yeah,
gotta provoke, honestly. Like,
yeah,
some, if you want to get something, but, I think my sensitive spots provoking are probably just like people who actually were victims when they had passed. But then if I think
yeah.
it's, something else more or less, mimicking something, and I have like good reason to think that's when I'll more provoke and try to get, you know, because
Nah,
like,
I
why
get
is a
that.
man's voice
I
over
definitely
the
get that.
spirit box like, so,
Yeah, yeah.
so,
You're
like,
like, no, no,
what?
no, no, no. You better stop right now.
It's like, I don't know if you've seen that meme, like, I'm Amanda, I'm
Yeah,
six. Yeah.
yeah,
Some dude.
yeah. But I'll be looking forward to the content that you're putting out, all these upcoming things. If you want to let everybody know where they can find your content, where they can follow you at, I'll be sure to put it in the show notes below as well for everybody too.
Yeah. So to everyone watching, you could find my content on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And that is going to be Bankz Project, BOOBANKZ Project. Spelled just how projects is spelled. And if anyone's having a hard time, I capitalize the B and then the other B and then the P. So capital Boo, capital Bankz, capital Project. And that's my name on all the platforms. So if you guys want to find me, show some support. I'm definitely excited to see where this goes. And hopefully, rather than saying I have a fan base, I just want people who like my content and like me as a person and can, get off of their work shift and enjoy a video that I have. So that's where you guys can find me. Yeah, because honestly, that's what it is for me. and thank you for having me on the podcast. I loved it. I think this is really cool. I've never done a podcast, so this is interesting.
Well, of course, man. Like I said, when I saw the post on Facebook, and then I saw that you were local, I was like, 100%, this is happening. Like, no doubt about it. That's why I was like, I'm shooting a message right now. As soon as I saw it, I even told my fiance, I was like, this dude's looking for ghost hunters. I was like, interview right now. I need to set up an interview right now.
Nice. So yeah, man, I'd love to be back on too as well.
Yeah.
I don't care. I can get 1 million subs tomorrow. You'd be like, hey, Ryan, you want to come back on? I'm like, yeah, I'll come back on. I had a lot of fun talking to you, man.
Whenever you can just do like breakdowns of investigations, anytime anything else happens, you want to share it, it's an open door over here.
Awesome. Well, I think we should.
Yeah, and if any time paths cross, we can set something up that way too.
Of course.
Since we're close
I think we should reconnect after the Hinsdale House investigation, because there's some other things rather than paranormal cryptids there that I think you'd be interested in. So whatever, 100%. If I get anything cool with some of the plans I got going on there, we should definitely revamp, go back on a second podcast.
Yeah, it'll be like no ghosts, but Bigfoot happened, and this is what we're gonna go to now.
Nice.
But
awesome, man.
I'll be sure to add it into the show notes below. To everybody watching, listening, whatever the hell you're doing, don't forget to ask questions and face your fears. Thanks for joining me and Ryan on this episode of Induced Fear. Bye, everybody.
Peace out.